Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Dialogues, for this platform, for bringing us together. I'm really looking forward to it, and thank you for inviting me to be part of it. Rethinking architecture, for us, really, it's I'm from Saudi and coming from this region. This region has been full of architecture that's primarily imported. So for us, rethinking architecture is about how to really reconnect with place. I set up Dabbagh Architects in 2008 at a time where really there was such an influx of architecture from globally, and a time I felt that really we needed to see how we can break away from that and create something that is more connected. We address themes of identity, belonging, and as you will see, some of our projects, I think, are starting to do that. So context is really important, and if we take that word context, it really comes from weaving together, and it's about just weaving together elements, physical elements, but it's also about the memory, the stories, and how to really bring everything together through architecture. So this project, in fact, is going to be 10 years next month. It was completed in 2016. It lies in Sharjah Emirate at the edge of the desert and near the Hajar Mountains. It was a site of importance. There's a lot of archaeology in that area, and it was intended as a part of a master plan to really protect the area from development. This was the site. It's a Bronze Age tomb. Back in 2012, I think, the first site visit. So it was in a kind of a municipal park, and what we wanted to do is really create an architecture that will showcase the archaeology, really connect with the beautiful scenery that is there, and also guide the visitor to the project. So that's the kind of the form was really generated from that circular tomb from the Bronze Age. We use materials that were connected to the place in some way. The stone actually is from India, but it really had the same qualities as the red sand, so it would really react with the sunlight in the same way, and it'll be very warm, orangey at dusk, as the same way the sand reacts. And copper is a reference to the copper ore that was produced in those in the Bronze Age. Another project which is really about ritual, and was our first sort of religious projects, and we really focused here on creating an experience for the worshipper that would really be distilling the mind, creating inner silence to allow them to pray. It was situated in an industrial area in Dubai, and it was really to serve that community. I have a couple of videos, so I want to just go through quickly. Here, I mean, the thing will be explained a little bit more in the videos. And can you play the video? Yes. Prayer is a devotional act. It requires us to be totally present. And with all the distractions in our modern busy lives,
it requires us to be totally
challenging
present.
to quieten the mind
And with
and
all
find
the
an inner
distractions
calm
in our
and
modern
to allow
busy
for
lives,
full immersion into prayer. The site is in Al Quoz, the industrial heart of Dubai. It's a functional and practical place, so creating a mosque here amplifies the distinction between the earthly and the spiritual. The design incorporates a series of spaces that facilitate a transition from the outer, everyday world to an inner, spiritual experience. Throughout the building, a triangular pattern is used as reference to traditional Islamic geometry in a contemporary language. The calligraphy plays an important part in the overall design. The words of God, in the form of Quranic verses, form a tangible, protective band around the mosque. They create an immediate connection upon arrival between the visitor and divine and instill a sacred energy throughout the building. The canopy creates both a link and a separation between the main prayer block and the ablution and accommodation block. With its two arms almost touching, the canopy represents the duality of body and spirit, the practicality of the ablution ritual, and the spirituality of prayer. To prepare for prayer, the active ablution cleanses the body and the spirit, while the removal of shoes enables the worshipper to let go of the material world. Mentally and physically prepared, they can now enter the prayer hall. The use of natural light helps to enhance a feeling of spirituality and the sacred, the connection between the earthly and the divine. The openings are deliberately placed to amplify this connection. The glowing light behind the mihrab invites the worshipper's attention towards Mecca, the direction of prayer. The light through the perforated dome enhances the vertical connection to the heavens. The shafts of light from the narrow openings on the sides further create a sense of illumination from the divine. The triangulated geometry continues within the interior as lines intersect across walls, carpets, and light fittings. To allow for privacy, the female prayer area is elevated above the main hall. An open perforated screen provides this separation, while still allowing a connection to the main hall. At the end of each project, my hope is that the building will evoke the feelings and emotions that were envisioned at the outset. There is a defining, magical moment when the building is born and claims a life of its own. For this, my first mosque, that moment was particularly moving. I feel truly blessed to have had the opportunity to create a sacred space that brings people together for worship. Thank you. So these two projects were quite small, but I think they were quite impactful in that it was a kind of an emerging way of doing architecture in the region. And our most recent is Al Ain Museum. It's a project in Al Ain city next to an 8,000-year oasis in a UNESCO, in the buffer zone of a UNESCO heritage site. So we had all these, I mean, it's a long story. If I was here, I think I might not be able to finish on time. It had two iterations of design. We initially started the project 8 years ago in 2018, And during construction, there were a lot of archaeology uncovered. And so the project stopped for about a year, and we started again in 21 with a new design to encompass the new discoveries. So we had a 200 BC tomb and a 700 AD early Islamic era irrigation system, falaj system. And what was there on the site is a fort from 1910 built by the father of the founder of the UAE, Sultan Al Nahyan, and Al Ain Museum, which is actually the first museum in the UAE. It's a 1969-70 building. So it's an example of a modern heritage in this area. So we had all these timelines, and it was really with a lot of challenges building over archaeology, but it also created a lot of opportunities, and weaving together all these timelines to create an experience that gives meaning to the people of Al Ain. I mean, Al Ain is an ancient city, and the way of life has really not changed much since, it's probably up to the 70s when the UAE was launched. Launch is not the right word. And the way we put it together was really, literally carving out spaces in between these archaeologists to create courtyards, vistas, and create a rich experience for the visitor. And I think, this, and as well as the Meleha, it's so different from building just a museum, a standalone museum. When you have the heritage elements visible and part of the experience, it really creates a very rich experience, and you're always very connected to those elements. And we took references really from what was there in a number of areas. On the left is actually how the tomb from pre-Islamic era were thought to have been constructed. So we created took a form that referenced that. And it was really about creating this dialogue between old and new, framing what is there, and creating an experience. So, yes. There's some elements also internally that also amplified the depth, for instance, of the wells, the tomb I just mentioned, and the falaj, the topography of that falaj. So I think I have to go quickly. In 2018, the Dabbagh Architects were commissioned to redevelop the Al Ain Museum, the first museum in the UAE. It was a design competition between 16 international and regional architects, and we were really thrilled to have won this commission.
We're honored to have been awarded with the design of such an important landmark. It's really brought together a large range of expertise and craftsmanship to really weave architecture, archaeology, and artifacts together into this incredible project.
The Department of Culture and Tourism had a very clear brief. Their vision was to create not only a museum, but also a centre for learning, research and conservation. And their vision really aligned with our approach to architecture, which really helped us work together seamlessly over the last number of years. We had developed an initial concept, and at the core of that is really reconnecting with the oasis, which is the livelihood of the aligned city. We had to go back to the drawing board. There were multiple challenges we had to face. It was a really great opportunity to showcase the archaeology and create a really rich experience for the visitors.
The first one is an archaeological park experience where we really wanted to immerse the visitor in the archaeology and to get up close and personal to it. The second experience, which is on a higher level, we call it the museum experience, and the visitor from there can have an overview of all the archaeology and really understand the extent of it. Some of the archaeological galleries are quite large, spanning over 800 square meters.
Dabbagh Architects' philosophy is to really create contextual architecture that belongs. And if you take the root of the word context, it actually means to weave together. And to weave together not just the physical settings, but also the history, the stories, the memory of the place. Weaving together all these elements, you have the 8,000-year-old oasis. You have the fort from 1910, built by Sheikh Sultan Al Nahyan. And you have the 1969 museum built by Sheikh Zayed. And now you have this new complex, which adds to what was there and showcases and celebrates the story of the UAE.
The alignment of the main entrance of the new museum aligns perfectly with the Sultan Fort entry. The extension from the existing museum links via a bridge to the new museum. And we've taken references of the forms and openings of the existing buildings and extrapolated them into a contemporary manner in the new architecture. Materiality and the selection of materials plays a major role in how we approach the architecture. We selected the crisp white render to give homage to the 1969 existing museum. We've used a very textured finish onto the limestone. We've created a chiseled finishing to it. So it really has this sense of roughness and tactility when you approach the building and even when you see the building from a distance.
As a Saudi architect from this region and working in the region, I can see so much richness of resources to tap into. We really don't need to borrow from the West or bring in foreign influences. And I believe this is reflected in all our projects, whether it's the Malay Archaeological Center or Gagash Mosque. It's all about reclaiming that heritage.
We're most proud of the way that the museum really reflects the vision of the UAE while deeply rooting it into its context. And we're very excited to be leaving this legacy project behind for future generations.
Thank you. I hope you're on time.